Ms. Petty has been sleeping with two men simultaneously, using one to get back at her ex, and at the same time keeping him in her life because of the baby she already has for him. What a woman. Could there be more to the story? I guess we're going to find out. This is about to be one hell of a case.
It's because she was sleeping around with me and Peter at the same time. The only reason I started messing around with her was to get my son.
You have an older child together, so you were messing around with her to get him.
The way you gotta get it, the way you could get your kid.
He came to me and was like, I still love you, Ania.
Whoops. After having the older child together, they had the option of staying together and raising the boy. They obviously did not take that option. Ms. Petty moved on with another man too. So, why in hell and in the heavens did they keep messing around with one another? It honestly makes zero sense. Were they not thinking there could be consequences?
Yeah, I tried to stop messing with her, but every time I stopped messing with her, she'll go ahead and bring up like, well, you can't see your son and all this, you ain't gonna be able to.
Your contention is that he never really got over you and still kept coming around. But you have to tell this court. You do admit that you also were having sex with Mr.
Yes, I
Daniels.
was.
Oh, Ms. Petty, surely the entire concept of commitment must be too much for your pretty head. If you choose a man, the whole point of it all is to stay with that one man. Nothing like staying with a man and still going back to your ex-boyfriend. But here we are.
He asked me to give my daughter his last name because he knew all the lies Stefan was telling me.
Because everybody
know everything he was
They were
telling
staying together
me
for 2 years.
about how he didn't want to take care
and they
of
were
her.
sleeping with
He
each
don't
other
want to be.
unprotected.
Well, look at both of them go. It's so difficult for Judge Lake to get a word in as it is. If Ms. Petty claims that her current boyfriend put his name on the certificate because he knows the lies Stefan told her, how come she's still sitting at his feet, eating up all those lies? Those lies gotta taste hella good, if you know what I mean.
He don't want to be around for her. He didn't even give her the chance, to get to know him. Child support, he avoided
I've been paying child support for my
DNA
son.
testing for my daughter.
Whoa. Ms. Petty really thinks that he already knows in his gut and is trying to run away from his responsibilities. What if he doesn't, though? What if he's just a man that keeps projecting off of the fact that he really does not know if it's his baby or not?
About how often were you sleeping with each man?
I would have sex with them on the same day.
I was afraid I was going to hear that.
All she was trying to do was break a relationship. She was just trying to break up my relationship.
How am I breaking up his relationship?
Because
He
every
came
time,
to me.
anytime.
Oh my goodness. She's been doing what? Does her current boyfriend even know about this? Oh, it would simply break him. Why exactly is Mr. Ballet acting like he never did anything wrong too? Talking about how Ms. Petty keeps ruining his relationship? Why did he have to keep sleeping around with his ex as well? Come on, it definitely was consensual sex.
The bottom line is, up until this point, until the baby was born, did you know that she had been having a sexual relationship with Mr. Ball as well?
She told me before because of the situation when we got together.
Okay.
So she told me that it was one time
But
where they
through
did.
the entire pregnancy, you were there.
Of course, she told him about the one time. Now, who knows if it's just one time or there are more times? After every single moment Mr. Daniels has had with the baby, imagine ripping his heart out of his chest and tearing it to pieces, telling him that he's not the father.
You and Mr. Ball had a sexual relationship.
Last week.
It was not last week. Your Honor, the last time we had a sexual relationship is when she said they broke up.
Mr. Daniel, I see you.
What is wrong with these two? Honestly, they are meant for one another and they need to take their baggage out of Mr. Daniels' life. They were together last week, as per, some days ago. Isn't that the most messed up thing? It seems like it would really never end.
I see his car outside, so I walk around to the window. I look in there and I see her hand. He's laying down. Her hands is in his boxers.
What? Okay, I can see the truth is from the look on your face that you all had another sexual encounter that day.
I wasn't even trying to that day.
Whoa, her hand was where? Surely she wasn't looking for some truth down his boxers. This woman has a loyal and responsible man that loves her and keeps taking all of this. What more does she want? Putting her hands down other men's boxers, searching for God knows what?
I'm happy for Mr. Daniel, but if she is mine, I just want to say I want custody of both of my children. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a better parent than both of them.
And he's not doing nothing for her, for him, neither one. To be honest, I want custody of both of them.
Jerome, I'm ready for results.
I'm not even 100%.
Well, now both dads want full custody. Isn't that something? Let's find out if the baby belongs to Mr. Daniels or Mr. Hands Down His Boxers. Maybe there's another man whose boxers she was searching for some other truth in. We'll find out today in court. Here are the results.
Mr. Ball, you are her father.
Ms. Reinhardt believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Let us find out more.
Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
It's always difficult to get through a case where the alleged father is dead because we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now, all we've got is what his mom knows, or what she thinks she knows.
I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not talked to him about his father, or have you?
I have.
You have.
It's nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone, but I'm curious to find out the rest of the story. How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there's only one way to find out.
I understand.
My son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out. And I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own.
It looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Reinhardt isn't even on the fence about it. She's totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why?
Became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's the father. I did not sleep with anybody else in that time when I was with him.
How could she possibly be so sure? Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. 2 people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Ms. Crow's story is quite convincing.
Well, that's your own opinion. That's your own opinion.
The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic, and he had.
And I took care of him.
And my son.
I didn't leave him because of that.
Now this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Reinhardt's little technique to identify her grandchildren is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
Silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, there are things about him that are a lot like me.
Ms. Reinhardt says the baby doesn't look like her, and Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please cut to the chase and be serious for once? This is no joking matter. This grandma needs to understand that the case is more serious than this.
That we would come across friends, but we didn't know he had conversations with, pregnant with my baby. He's really happy, he's excited. He never denied my child, and I knew for a fact that, he's the father because I haven't been with anybody else.
Ms. Crow made a good choice in breaking up with JC for the safety of herself and her 2 other kids. Nobody mentioned these kids until now. Guess they're not so relevant to the case.
Of another man that
my
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son.
You can tell Ms. Reinhardt is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
Okay, good for you.
I was there for 2 hours with his best friend.
I didn't want to go and be around you. You see how you act?
Now that is one tough question. You broke up with the man and he only hung out with his son once. You had 9 months before he passed, but didn't do anything until you saw his obituary?
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't in contact.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's
knew.
Supposedly the alleged father, not.
It don't have to be alleged because we're gonna find out today.
So
You're gonna
listen.
see for yourself.
Yes, we are.
I can let my scab.
It is glaring how much these 2 women can't stand themselves. And it is sad because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
That's your son.
He was mad with me because he believed that I was stealing his money. I was the one making sure his bills were paid. I was the one making sure he had a...
But when she left and he was evicted,
He had a
and I was
two-bedroom-
there and he had no money, he didn't have
He
nowhere
had
to go.
money all
I
the-
paid for him a place to stay.
Good question, because we can't push all the blame on Ms. Crow. Ms. Reinhardt was his mother at the end of the day. And if indeed he had the mental capacity of a 16-year-old, how did she leave him all alone?
This is serious because JC is gone now.
Yeah,
He's no
he's
longer
gone.
with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old. Only seen his father one time, and the mother...
The two women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say, so Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. Please read the results out, Judge Lake, and let us resolve this case once and for all.
It has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas is 99.6% you are related.
Ms. Prowl is requesting the court to award her $475 in back child care support in case one of 3 men is identified as her baby's biological father. Mr. Morton, one of the men on the list, believes he should be excluded because there are too many potential fathers for it to be him.
I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world, I've come to find out that she slept around with one guy, then another guy. I'm just perplexed about the situation. I don't know.
So, Ms. Prowl and Mr. Morton were in a relationship, and Mr. Morton wouldn't have doubted Ethan's paternity if he didn't find out she had been sleeping around with several other men. Let's hear Ms. Prowl's side of the story.
Going wonderful in the beginning. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another woman
What evidence do you have of that?
on his Twitter account. He's talking to a young lady.
Here we go again with the revenge sex trope. When are couples ever going to learn that this doesn't solve anything? She thought he was cheating, so she went ahead to cheat. Now there's a baby, and nobody knows who his father is?
Before he did so, he asked me, was I involved with Miss Prowl? Now, I told him yes. I
But
hope
you're
you
listening
don't,
to other people, though. You're listening
I
to
hope
other
you don't
people.
get too serious with her.
Okay, this woman is hilarious. You're upset that he believed someone who told him you were cheating, yet you admit it's true. So what's your issue, ma'am? The point is, you were cheating on him with this, Mr. Gaddis, and that's it.
Didn't know, lied to me, obviously. I don't think I'm the father, because we only messed around a few times. I didn't hear from her for months. I didn't know she was pregnant until Desmond told me in passing.
Wow, Ms. Prowl sure knows how to lie to men. Mr. Gaddis, who is also a potential father, is denying the paternity of the child and even had no idea she was pregnant. They had had a fling a long time ago, and to him that ship has long sailed. So this baby issue doesn't seem to concern him much.
I do want to say for the record, I'm very remorseful for what I did because that was totally out of bite. That's what it was. I did it because I found out he was messing around
now
with
you're
someone
immature.
else.
She claims to have been drunk when the thing with Mr. Gaddis happened. But the thing with the third guy, Mr. Lowry, was very intentional and she had done it out of spite. Like Judge Lauren just said, 3 wrongs do not make a right.
If you knew we had sex more than once, why wasn't I hit up for this? Like, why weren't I called?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
I'm talking now.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Never.
This all makes sense now knowing that they're teenagers. What does Ms. Prowl mean by not wanting Mr. Lowry to be her child's father? If you didn't want him to be, you shouldn't have slept with him in the first place because now it's not in your control.
During our relationship, sometime on the 17th, and I slept with him.
Okay, move on.
I'm on the red. When I slept with Mr. Gaddis at a party.
My goodness, how is this girl not embarrassed? She slept with 3 coworkers in like the same week, and she's here like she's some math teacher teaching the court how to read a calendar.
Mr. Morton was in the hospital with me. However, after me giving birth and they moved me to my stable room, he left and didn't come back.
Does Ms. Prowl think she's in the right? Does she really believe anyone's going to be on her side after everything she's just admitted? It's a good thing Mr. Morton didn't sign that birth certificate. At least he held her hand while she gave birth to the baby. It's proof that he cares for her.
And why didn't you call him?
How can we help if we don't hear about the
I didn't want him to be
kid?
the father. I didn't want him
But
to know.
It doesn't matter.
Excuse me,
That's
I
my
didn't
kid.
even
You
want.
should have to
I
call
didn't even
me
want
to let
Mr.
me
Morton
know.
to know.
This is what
I don't
this is
care
what I
if
want to
you
know.
don't want.
Imagine trying to make a choice now. What a joke. Since when did knowing how to change a diaper become a criterion for being a father? How many men, or people in general, know how to change a diaper before having a kid? It's clear Ms. Prowl doesn't fancy Mr. Lowry very much. Wish she had considered that before having revenge sex with him.
Okay.
It's a percentage that is your child, is that it isn't your child. Regardless, no one should hold it against this child.
But your point is you don't feel like any of the men truly stepped up.
Did Ms. Prowl and her neighbor expect all the men to be knocking at her door, begging to take care of the child when they weren't even sure if the child was theirs? It doesn't work that way. Good thing it's only been 6 weeks, and from here on out, whoever the father is will have to step up.
Here, you take some responsibility yourself for where you and your baby are today. I'm not saying they got it all the way right. All of you silly, because you're teenagers, you're young, you have no business even having baby. If you don't require that they protect themselves.
Bet she wasn't expecting that outburst from Judge Lauren. Let's end this whole thing and find out who Ethan's father is. The results are in.
The father is Mr. Morton. Are those tears of joy or just relief?
I do feel remorseful.
When Mr. Carr walks into court, he has a good case and is even more sure that he is not Trinity's father. He says Ms. Villa broke up with him many times and blamed him for the child while avoiding a DNA test for 3 years. Today he's going to get the truth.
All right, Mr. Carr, you say you had to open up today's case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell the court why.
Your Honor, because her nickname is Heartbreaker.
What does that
From
have
the
anything to
beginning
do with
of the
Trinity?
relationships that we had together, she was a liar, a cheater.
Things go crazy from here on out. Ms. Villa says she cheated on Mr. Carr, but she still wants him back. She thinks that they can move forward as a family once the tests show that he is the father. The judge still doesn't believe it.
That is a huge jump, Jerome. A jump with a capital J. And it turned into a relationship from just meeting on Facebook.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you all decided, what is this, love at first sight for you all? Like,
Oh, Mr. Carr is definitely pissed to his bone. He says Ms. Villa cheated on him 8 times with 8 different guys. Even though she tries to hide it, everyone already knows the truth. What makes him think he can trust what she says?
Now, she cheated 8 different times with 8 different people.
8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Mom. Yes, Your Honor.
In the beginning, no.
Hold on.
You're a liar.
Wait a minute. She cheated on you 8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Mom.
No,
yes,
that's
Your
not how
Honor.
it went.
When the date of conception is called into question, things get even more confusing. Mr. Carr says Ms. Villa slept with someone else on January 31st and then with him on February 14th. But 3 days after that, she told him she was pregnant. That math doesn't make sense.
On February the 14th. 3 days later, the 17th, she tells me that she's pregnant. I'm like, how are you pregnant?
Tony, you're a liar.
If we just slept together on the 14th, then how did you know that you're pregnant? How in the world do you know that you're pregnant?
You
if
told
we
me
slept
I was
together.
So
pregnant.
you
You're a
have
liar.
sex 3 days later and she tells you, now I'm pregnant.
Then, the shock from the back seat. She says she and Mr. Carr got pregnant while having sex in the back of a car while his friend was driving. This information is dropped so lightly that the judge can't believe it.
While he was driving?
Yep.
And that's the day you think Trinity was conceived?
Yep.
With Mr. Carr?
Yep.
In the car?
Yes.
The back of the car?
It was me and him having sex.
Right. But you say that's not the case.
I don't believe that's the case because of the 31st of January is when she slept with.
Mr. Carr is still not sure. He says Trinity wouldn't have been born on October 31st if she had been conceived on February 14th. That would have been 3 weeks too early. But Ms. Villa says her due date was actually November 21st, which means Trinity was born before it was time.
But Mr. Carr, you aren't so sure.
I'm not so sure, Your Honor. And it's hurtful because I have to
Mr.
live with
Carr-
this pain every single day.
Tony, you chose to
trying
do that.
Think
You
chose
were there
for you
on
to go
and
cheat?
off, on and
Okay.
off.
Anyways.
So
I live with
Trinity,
this pain every
Trinity
day.
is 3 years old. Do you have a relationship with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then everything changes in a big way. When Ms. Villa's best friend is called to the stand, she tells everything. She says that Ms. Villa had a one-night stand with another guy during the time when they were meant to be together. The story gets stronger.
And I'm not going to accept you just painting that picture of her because I know there has to be a yin to this yang. And I want to understand the type of relationship you've built with this beautiful little girl over the past 3 years.
Mr. Carr goes crazy. For years, he has begged Ms. Villa to give him a DNA test, but she has always dodged the question. Everything is clear. She changed cities every time he tried to find out the truth. The judge doesn't like it.
I think we also have to be honest about the fact that you look at her and you see her smile. If we're being very honest, you also look and say, I wonder if she's mine. And that's also the pain behind those tears.
Yes, Mom. It's both ways. It's like a two-edged sword.
Then came the worst kind of betrayal. Ms. Villa says she got the idea for Trinity's middle name from a one-night stand. Mr. Carr is very sad. Now that 3 years have passed, he doesn't even know if this child is his.
You've actually brought an exhibit with you to court that outlines this testimony.
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
Can you
Yes,
please
Your Honor.
step up to the monitor and let's review this exhibit? So you say she's been running away from a DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor. I was in Alabama. She was in Tampa, Florida.
The results are in. Everyone in the courtroom holds their breath. After years of questions, Mr. Carr, you are the father. He explodes with happiness and relief as he breaks down.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Carr, you are the father. Are you happy?
I'm ecstatic.
Good.
Yes, Mom. I finally got my closure.
The world is definitely about to end when you find yourself in a situation of having to pick between your wife and mistress. Mr. Stewart's mistress, Ms. Dallas, says that he is the father of her child, but he is refusing to accept that so he can keep his marriage together. Here's how the case begins.
Ms. Dallas, you have dragged the defendant, Mr. Stewart, into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar. You say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad.
Those are big words to be throwing about in a courtroom, but what's shocking is that Ms. Dallas says that Mr. Stewart has been living a double life. Does that mean she never knew he had a wife? Or could she be the one living the double life?
I met Cedric with Mr. Stewart in June of 2016. I was out having breakfast with my friend, probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. And he walked up to me or whatever, offered to pay for my breakfast or whatever. After that, we exchanged numbers, and from there, we hooked.
I think our question has been answered. Mr. Stewart is the one living the double life. It's insane that she had to find out he had a wife through that. I mean, if he wants to live that sort of life, why get married? Some men are just nothing but problems for real.
You know, it didn't come up. You know, I felt like it didn't come up. Like, you know.
How did it not come up?
did.
That's relevant information, is it not?
Yeah, true that. Yes, Your Honor.
So wait, you were basically out acting like a single man.
No, I wouldn't act. Yes, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
I'm glad you just went on ahead and told it.
In his head, this man has got to be joking. It doesn't even feel like he feels bad for cheating on his wife. If they are actually getting a divorce, I am happy for his wife. It seems to me that he wasn't ready to be in a very committed relationship with Ms. Dallas.
You have second thoughts about dating a married man?
Yes, I did have second thoughts, but once everything started hitting the floor, like, I was already pregnant. You know what I'm saying? I love Cedric, you know, and he was telling me, like, I'm gonna do the divorce, we're gonna have a house, you know, all this, we're gonna raise our son together, you know. I was believing him because that's all I had to do was believe him.
I think his new name should be the Smooth Talker, rather than Mr. Stewart, because he sure sold the perfect dream to Ms. Dallas. He had her believing that he would get a divorce and they would raise their child together. Yeah, right. Ms. Dallas should have known better. I mean, he was basically cheating on his wife with her.
Getting in doubt, so-called my associate was telling him and his wife that I was sleeping around with multiple men when I conceived Lamar.
Someone that knew you.
Yeah.
They start giving you information.
Yeah. But it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him, telling him that I was.
So everybody wants to sleep with Mr. Stewart. I see. This man needs to be whooped. First, he has a wife. Then he goes to have a mistress and get her pregnant. Now the coworker is sending him nude pictures of herself. He is definitely not telling the truth. Something just doesn't sound right.
So at what point do you have to come clean with your wife about this baby?
I told her.
Picture of the
because
strip.
when me and Cedric were supposed to be together, Roberta sent me a picture of him and Cedric in the bed. Now Cedric has my name tattooed on him. She sent me a picture. She sent me a picture of him and her.
Oh, it's now a tit for tat kind of thing? Now that is crazy. How are these grown-up women acting like they are in high school? There's a child's life at stake for crying out loud. I'm honestly disappointed in all of them. They should know better. Oh, his wife is not here to fool around at all. Her attitude says it all. She says that Ms. Dallas knew very early that Mr. Stewart was married, and she went on to have a relationship with him anyway. She even says she has proof to back up her claims.
How they met? Cedric met her online.
Okay. And so you believe he was actually looking for
exactly
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but relations. Exactly.
Do you believe Miss Dallas knew he was married?
Wow. From what she just said, it seems like Mr. Stewart was actually done with his wife and wanted to be with Ms. Dallas. Explains the look on his wife's face because
Miss Stewart, you believe that Miss Dallas was having sex with multiple men.
Exactly.
In addition to your husband.
Exactly.
And that's why you doubt that this child is your husband's biological child.
Exactly.
Ms. Dallas, were you intimate with
I'm guessing she had no idea all of this was going on. I guess that answers that question. His wife clearly had no idea all of this was going on. Mr. Stewart even admits that he knows her other kids and they have been together for quite some time to build relationships with all of them. Wow.
She got other kids, you know what I mean? I got a relationship with them, you know, so I wouldn't just be gone.
Wait a minute, now you standing next to your wife and you telling me how you gonna be there for your mistress. I'm getting confused. Who are you actually with right now? Who are you with?
Drama queens. Two drama queens who have both been played by one man. It's surprising and sad that they are both fighting for the same man who lied and slept with both of them. It's insane that they are fighting each other when they should be fighting Mr. Stewart.
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself at this point. Cedric has 3 children of his own that he has neglected to take care of her children.
No, that's not true, because me and him take the baby over there and my other kids to go see his daughter and his son.
Lakeitha
You
has
always say
4
that, Roberta.
children.
No, you're not gonna do him like that.
I don't even know what to say. Is his wife mad at him for sleeping with someone out of their marriage? Or is she mad because she feels like Ms. Dallas's child does not belong to him? I'm genuinely confused. Oh well, let the DNA results clear the air. Here they come. The air.
Mr. Stewart, you are the father.
Hey, I told you, baby. I told you.
Ms. Dallas, I see you are in because this
I go through so much with him.